Insurgency Sandstorm has something truly special here, but it's running the risk of losing that. They need to make a decision on what type of game they want to be and stick with that. Are they going to appeal to their long-term audience by adhering to the game's hardcore nature? Or are they going to try to appeal to the wider, more casual player base and run the risk of fading into mediocrity and just becoming another bland, uninspired FPS on the market? Oh, did you just see that snipe? Please tell me someone's seen that. So there's been something I've been meaning to talk about for a while now, but I've just been putting it off because I'm just not sure if it's me overthinking things and possibly making a big deal out of nothing. You guys know I love Sandstorm a lot. I'm passionate as hell about this game, so naturally with that passion comes a lot of concern with a few things the game has added or changed, or things that could potentially change in the future. A couple of months ago with the release of Operation Warlord, NWI did a live stream on Twitch where they talked about the update and interacted with the community a bit. They talked about the new map, the new guns, the new gun skins, and of course, the new character skins. Now, this video isn't about me not liking the Grey Man set for the Insurgents. It's about Hank's response to someone in the chat when they asked something along the lines of like, hey, have you seen the criticism surrounding the Grey Man skin set yet? Which Hank responded with the following clip.
Of course it looks sick, but it doesn't fit the game. So that's something we see quite often. But games are always evolving and changing, right? And like 2 years ago, the Uprising DLC from 1.10 wouldn't have fit. You would have said it didn't fit either, but it changes and evolves. So
What do you mean by that?
Now, this is no hate towards Hank at all. He's just the messenger and he's actually a really cool dude. But what kind of answer was that? What does that mean exactly? Games evolve, they change. Does that not concern anyone else but me? Because I don't see anyone else bringing this up. The way I interpret it was kind of like, I don't want to say passive aggressive, but kind of like a hint that there are going to be changes in the future that you might not like. And I think people are too concerned or too concentrated on the big changes or additions they've made so far. That's not to say that those big changes weren't significant. We all know the controversy around the Chinese skins and the recall changes they made back in the day, and of course the death cam, but I think we need to be more aware of the little things as well. The devil is in the details here, mainly the fine print. What the hell? So what do I mean by that? Well, for example, they're now displaying on the map where the enemy team's spawns are. That might not seem like a big deal at first glance, but one of the best things about Insurgency is it makes you learn those things instead of just spoon feeding it to you. Let people learn those things by playing the game instead of just giving the player that information. They've also made friendly icons more visible by making them less transparent, and the icons will actually flash when they've recently spawned. Again, not a huge deal. I guess they had data that showed a lot of accidental friendly fire, but normally if you did that once, you wouldn't do it again. What an idiot. What the fuck was that? Not to mention that takes away from Sandstorm's punishing nature. If you did too much damage to friendlies, that damage would eventually be reflected onto you, so it consciously made you take notice of player uniforms. And it also improved your reaction time and decision making. I don't want Sandstorm to have a cluttered HUD. Keep it as minimal as possible. Don't spoon feed me too much information to the point where the game is looking like Battlefield. What's next? Like, are they gonna add like a red barrier to the edge of the zone so you know where the restricted areas are instead of taking the time to learn them? Are they gonna make it that enemies have a red marker above their heads when you aim near them? Are they gonna add a grenade indicator to tell you where a grenade has landed? Are they gonna add the ability to ping a location so you don't have to use teamwork and communication? The moment we let them know that we're okay with them adding in these small details and minute changes to existing mechanics is the moment this game will change for the worse. I've seen it happen to games in the past. I used to play a lot of PUBG and Battlefield back in the day, and the way they would implement potentially controversial additions is by easing them in, taking jabs at us over the course of months or potentially years until we either didn't notice it was happening or until the point where the general discourse amongst the community was, hey, X, Y, and Z have been in the game for ages, how is this any different? I don't want us to get to the stage of just letting the small things slide. Take notice of the small details because that is where the game will truly start to lose its identity. Like I said in the beginning, Sandstorm has something truly special here and they need to stick with what makes them stand out. Hardcore gameplay, teamwork, limited HUD and information presented to the player, weapon recoil and the skill ceiling that goes along with it, etc, etc. You get the point. Trying to appeal to a wider audience isn't always the best move because you run the risk of alienating too many people and driving away the very people that have stuck with your series all these years. At the risk of sounding like I'm gatekeeping this game, I don't want Sandstorm to be mainstream.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I don't want Sandstorm to have hundreds of thousands of players that give shitty opinions about a game they don't understand. Because let's face it, the general public just aren't suited for a game like Sandstorm, and the more people there are surrounding a game, the more potentially shitty opinions come along with it, and unfortunately the loudest people are the ones that don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Bro, please, bro. Why are you doing?